So I'm going to tell y'all something that I usually only tell my really close friends and my therapist. When I was 7 years old, my father insisted that I already knew how to swim. So he drugged me down to the YMCA to prove the fact that I knew how to swim. Long story short, I almost drowned. Fast forward 40 years later, my wife convinces me to move to a space in time that is surrounded by nothing but water, Virginia Beach. While we were here last year, hanging out down at the beach, I ran into this guy who was a surfer, and we started talking about different things. And as a coach, I love to find out why people do what they do and then ask them, okay, give me some pointers on how I can do it. So we started talking about how culture and surfing pretty much go hand in hand, and I'll show you how. What is culture? It's really why people do what they do. It's their inner desires, it's their drive. It comes from where they've been and the experiences that they've been around. This is what's funny. Culture also involves a person's BS. And by BS, I'm talking about their belief system, right? So our belief systems happen to us as children, and as the cement settles, that's how we navigate through life, through our belief systems. And you're looking at me and you're going, okay, so how does any of this relate to me? Well, if you're in business, I don't care what industry you're in the people business. So you have to know how to connect with people and their culture. That means if you're a real estate agent, if you're an inventor, if you're a barista at Starbucks, you have to know that people is the real deal. People are your business. So you have to know how to connect with them. Now, one of my favorite movies, Jerry Maguire, you're saying to yourself, you're sitting here, this is an HR event, you're wondering, show me the money. How does any of this affect my bottom line, right? Well, when you understand how culture drives how we spend money and how we connect with people, you'll see how the money connects to it. Let's go back in the early 80s when hip hop was migrating out of New York City, and it started in pretty much going into all sectors of life. Suburbia began to be influenced by these guys who had never been to their neighborhood, but were putting out things. That's the way we wear our clothes, the way we talk back then, the music that we listen to. Even up to the day, hip hop has been a tremendous contributor to how culture has been shaped in America. Now think about this. In the late 80s, a small, obscure company by the name of Adidas began to be popular with urban youth. Why? Because Run DMC, that's Russell, Darryl, and James, actually began to wear their Adidas on their tours. They made songs about it, and all of a sudden, people that had never been associated with Adidas were being introduced to it. Now, this is interesting because by the late 80s, movies, jingles, our commercials, all the things that we were exposed to on a daily basis on a Saturday morning were being influenced by the influx of the hip-hop culture. Now, hip-hop is just one of the many waves that people were able to ride and monetize from. And today I want to share with you exactly how to do that. This is some of the stuff I picked up from my surfer dude. I didn't forget about him. We sat there probably about 2 hours just talking and hanging out and having a really good time, but he was dropping some really good pearls of wisdom that helped me in understanding what culture was all about. First of which, he said you have to have access to water. It sounds simple, but we live in a digital age. Everybody wants to learn everything from YouTube. You cannot learn how to surf. I tried. You can't learn how to surf on YouTube. So the next thing you need is you must have a guide. You need someone that is immersed in the culture that you're trying to affect. And the funny thing, in Stephen Stout's book, The Tanning of America, he said that hip-hop was influencing culture before it was really cool to influence culture. So you must have that. Next thing you need is you need the tools of the trade. You need a board. That means you've got to be able to connect with people who are authentically connected to the culture that you want to influence. Adidas did this beautifully. They took guys who were from the suburbs. They took guys who had Ivy League educations. They took guys who were in corporate America and put them in the room with dudes from the projects who had never been out of the projects but knew how to rap. And they had an idea for sneakers, and they put them in a room and said, now we want to see the collaboration and see what happens. The next thing you need is you need a wave. And then when you find the wave, you need the biggest part of that wave, which is the crest. This is you getting in there, getting connected with people, getting up, falling down, going through the process, because even when it's ugly and uncomfortable, you still have to touch base with culture. And it takes courage to be able to step out of your comfort zone and really connect with people on a level that affects their lives. Culture can be scary. I get it. But if you're ever going to be successful in business, if you're ever going to build a brand that's going to go beyond the borders of your community, you're going to have to be exposed to other cultures, embrace them, learn from them, and most of all, leave them alone and let them be pure as they are. Thank you so much.